Hey everyone, and welcome to a special review episode of the Games Are Fun podcast. Today we are giving our review for new Pokémon Snap for the Nintendo Switch. My name is Luke Armstrong and I'm your host. Joining me today for this special review is the one and only Steven Beagle, aka Lordly King S. Steven, how's it going? Huge congrats to you and your Stack Up charity stream from the other day there. That was insane, man.
Thank you. It's going well. As I mentioned in the pre-show with Twitch chat, I did get my first COVID vaccine shot today, so I'm a little tired, a little sore on the shoulder, but doing well. And yeah, that charity stream completely exceeded expectations for me, to be completely honest. Like, I knew the $500 goal that we had was maybe shooting a little low. And I had in my back pocket something for 1,000, and then it just kept going. Hit 1,000. And then all of a sudden it was 1,700. And then all of a sudden after that, it was into the 2,000s. And then we hit 3,000 by the end of the day. So $3,000 raised for Stack Up. And since we hit the original goal of 500, we'll actually be doing another 12-hour charity stream on the 28th for Stack Up as well, with a lot of similar chicanery and shenanigans that we've got into in the first one. This one I think is going to be even bigger and better, to be perfectly honest, because there's more prizes, and there's I'm trying to come up with a third little competition game for the community to play to win one of the prizes. So yeah, completely exceeded expectations. It was a fantastic time. And even if you're not a Final Fantasy player, like, we still had a blast doing a lot of stuff and laughing a lot and chatting and terrorizing me a little bit through incentives and things along those lines. So it was a fantastic time. Glad to see that you were able to make it out for a little bit too, Luke. It was hopefully you had a good time watching.
Yeah, it was a blast. I pretty much had it on all day and then was periodically checking in and stuff like that. And yeah, I was just like, I knew the kingdom was going to show up with their donations, but then when there was that first $1,000 anonymous donation that popped on the screen, it was just like, man, that was just like the firework that just, and then all the raids that happen, and with those raids, people staying around and like donating themselves and spreading the support that way is just like, it's so awesome to see. So huge congrats to you for setting that up, and all of your mods and your community, for, because I know you have a team that had helped you with that whole plan to stream there. So yeah, big congrats. You should be really proud of that.
Yeah, it was kind of wild. Like, and I knew that some folks were going to be dropping by and bringing their community by, but the likes of Moody Moomba, who's big in the Final Fantasy community, and the streamer formerly known as 16-bit Dad TV, dropped by with his community. Zwanich, who we call Z, who's also my Stack Up charity team leader in the Warriors of Light charity team, brought her community by. It was just piles and piles of people. And then champion, one of the champions of the Final Fantasy community, Chloe, who really just, if she would have just waited like 15 minutes with her comment in Twitch chat yesterday, would have completely busted you guys, and I was waiting for it. But she went over to a great streamer, great positivity streamer, Hottie Chicken, and got her community over there, and that was huge. Like, Hottie is such one of those streamers that I've got a high amount of respect for the type of community that she's putting together over there and what she's doing herself. And for her to take the time and bring her community by, just because of a tap on the shoulder from Chloe, was a huge deal too. It was just, there was a lot of really great things that happened that day, and I'm never going to forget it. It was very memorable.
Yeah,
it was one for the record books for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, really excited for the next one, May 28th. GAF community, make sure you make it out there. Twitch.tv, Lord the King S. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. So, all right. Well, before we snap into action, you like that? We wanted to mention that episodes of Games Are Fun release every single week. Each week, Steven, Adam, and I join together to talk about all things video games. We talk about video game news, trending industry topics, and give reviews on recent game releases. The podcast is available on all major podcast services such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, pretty much all your major podcast services. Just search for Games Are Fun podcast on your platform of choice. And if you enjoy the show, make sure you're following it, subscribing to it on whatever platform you listen to it on. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate if you could leave us that 5-star review. That helps us kind of spread awareness of the show and help us get heard. This episode is also being live streamed over on twitch.tv/GamesAreFunPodcast. And I say it every week, and I'm going to keep saying it until we get some of you audio listeners over here on Twitch. The Twitch live streams are a ton of fun to do. They're kind of like, there's like a meta show going on inside this show in the chat bar. So, you can hang out with chat, have a fun time while listening to the show. So make sure you're catching those if you can. But if you can't catch the show live, no problem. You can catch it on VOD on our Twitch channel. We archive the streams there. And then you can also check it out on our YouTube channel. If you want to know how to get to there, just search for Games Are Fun Podcast. We're still trying to get that custom YouTube URL link, but go into this show's description. You can go over to that YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, and you can catch all the episodes, level grinders, any live streams that we do, they go up on that YouTube channel. So, all right. I think that is it for housekeeping. So yeah, let's just jump straight into the review. So Steven, where I wanted to start, as always, is, quick impressions, like our just surface level thoughts on what we thought of the game. Maybe we could also kind of start off by sharing if we played the original on Nintendo 64, because we're going to be talking about that game and comparing it a lot, seeing as this is like a sequel for a game that released 20 years ago. It's the only thing we have to compare it to. So yeah, why don't you start off with some of your thoughts?
Sure. Quick impression wise, I picked it up day one. I knew I wanted it day one. It looked really good from the previews that they gave us on the directs and things like that. And as soon as I got through the talking, because it does have that Pokemon moment where they want to talk your ear off. So it's like, okay, yeah, we're taking pictures, blah, blah, blah. And you get into the first area and start taking the photos, actually. I was immediately hooked. There was a slight bit of, I guess you could say, even obsession over it, because you take one picture, you're moving down the track on the rail and take some more pictures and get some other ones, and you start getting views of other Pokemon that are gonna, and they grab you. It's like, oh, hey, there's one, and you see another one over in the corner in the distance, and you're coming up on the track, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna get up to this one now, yeah, and you're trucking along and you're going to get these things. So it hooked me from the start. And I knew that I just wanted to keep playing and playing and playing and playing. And then after you get done through the first run, they start throwing like optional things down on you to do. And it's like, oh, hey, by the way, here's also a nighttime version of this that you can go and do. And it's just like, woo! And then, just things kept coming to keep the game interesting for me. And like, it's not just like you go and take one picture and you're done. Each Pokemon's got at least four different actions that you can try and elicit from them to get points on your pictures and things like that. So like there was so much there that was building on the game, that it took this simple idea that started back on the N64 that was just snap a picture, move on to the next level, snap some more pictures, and they blew it up into this whole big research expedition to try and make Pokemon do certain things in the wild, or watching them do certain things in the wild that like really we've never witnessed before whenever it comes to this environment, to this world, to this universe. So it was very, 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 very interesting for me, and initially loved it, and stuck with it for a long time. And as for how many hours I put into it, so it released on Friday, right? So Friday midnight. I got to pick it up and start playing it about Friday 1:30ish after I wrapped up stream for the day. And I didn't stop playing it until Sunday night around like 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
With maybe like 8 hours of sleep. So I put in almost 30 hours, and 24 to 30 hours of time into the game before the weekend was even over.
Wild.
Saying, anytime anybody was asking me to do stuff and I got no chores done, I was so backed up on chores, and I was just like, I'm doing important research. And I'm like, kids are like, let me play the PlayStation. We want to play Minecraft. I'm like, doing research. No. Yeah. And I'm like, just hogging everything. but those are my quick impressions on it. Quick impressions was 24 to 30 hours worth of time
Yeah.
over the weekend whenever it released. So,
I think that
but
speaks for
yeah,
itself.
great one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally there with you. Although I have not, definitely don't have as many hours logged into it as you have, mostly because Returnal is like some hell trap that I'm stuck in that I want to get out of but can't for whatever reason. Um Pokemon Snap's been that game that, you know, when I'm getting mad with Returnal, I was playing it, and there was a day there where I was like, okay, I'll take a break, play Pokemon Snap, and yeah, it hooked me because when I first got it, because I got it a couple days late. Maddie, thank you so much for tuning in over on the Twitch chat. Appreciate that. Have yourself a good night. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it right off the bat, but I kind of started it late at night, so I didn't really get into it. And then yeah, that first long play session was just incredible. And you know, going back to your point of like uh, the first, you know, half an hour of that game when you finally get into that first level, it just took me back to that very first level in the Nintendo 64 game where you're kind of on the, I think it's the beach level, if I'm not mistaken. And it just like, the level just like, it just took me back. It was like, it looked like what I remember seeing it like when I was a kid, you know, playing with my older sister and stuff. And, I can assure you it didn't look like that, but they've really captured like what the feel of that game was back in the day, and they've modernized it, right? They've brought in some things. So, you know, we're going to get a little bit into it in our review, whether we think, is this worth full price for you to go out and purchase it? Because that is something that has been talked about. And, you know, we'll probably expand a little bit more on that later. But what I wanted to jump into right away here is the kind of the gameplay and how that compares to the first one. So the first one, obviously very traditional, like you said, you're just taking pictures of Pokemon. There's not really anything more to it besides things like I think a Poke Flute. Did you have a Poke Flute in the original one?
I
I
think
think you
so,
did.
because I think you had to use the flute for Snorlax, who was in the
Yes,
first
right.
one.
Yeah, he
I
was
know it was what
blocking
they used
the
during that.
track or whatever. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and then you had apples, and then you had some. I think there was some sort of like it was like the
Maybe like
little
a
like
I
net.
think there was like a snap or a whistle too that you could do to kind of
Yeah,
get them to have them pay attention to you in some way or something like
yeah.
that. But yeah.
It was like there was like a small kind of like tool belt of tools you could use to kind of get different reactions, or you know, the big thing with the first game is knocking a Magikarp into a waterfall and it turning into a Gyarados, or
Mhm.
you know, evolving into a Charizard. There was evolutions and stuff, so like that was kind of the goal, whereas this game still has that, but again a little different. So you still have apples, you still have a Poke Flute, although it's kind of like this audio that plays that's built into your camera, I guess is how the game explains it.
Mhm.
And then you also have these Lumina orbs. And that's kind of like a big change to the first game, is these Lumina orbs. And I don't know if you want to kind of maybe give a brief explanation of what the Lumina orbs, and then we can maybe talk about the Lumina secret areas a little bit
Sure.
after. Yeah.
So the Lumina orbs, basically each area that you go to, or each island that it's split up into, has its own Lumina flower. And as you go through on the first part of it, and you first visit that place, you won't have access to it just yet. But then eventually they end up getting you access to it, and you have your orb then that you can use to. Again, it's another tool to elicit responses out of Pokemon. The most notable is the one that they showed in the trailer and the gameplay trailer for this game, where you threw a Lumina orb at Scorbunny, and Scorbunny does like this blue fire flaming kick up on a sign. So that's like one of the most notable ones. But there's a lot of different other behaviors that you pull out of other Pokemon using that same orb, to basically just make them do a special action for you within the game. So in that way you can get one of the other poses or one of the other shots that you need to fill out your photo decks. Because I mentioned each Pokemon needs 4 pictures. Usually your Illumina ball or Illumina orb is going to be used to get one of those responses out of the Pokemon to get one of those pictures. And like I say, each area has its own, so each one's going to have its own color, which gives a different type of view for each Pokemon that you go to. And a lot of times, like if you use them in the right way, they can illuminate an entire area and give you a really nice opportunity to catch some really good shots with a group of Pokemon. So it's, or draw in other ones that you don't normally see in the scene beforehand, but now that you've illuminated the area, they come trotting in and you get a good shot of things. So a lot of utility used in it, not only just for one Pokemon, but also to do group shots with other ones that'll show up, or special events that would show up between Pokemon.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because like the game teaches you that you throw them. Sorry, what are they called? Like the blot, like the things that you throw the Lumina, like the blossoms. Is that
Yeah,
what they're called?
I
I
think
don't
it's
know what
just
they're called.
Illumina flowers or Illumina
Flowers, or
blossoms,
yeah, I don't know
something
what
like
they're
that.
called. Yeah, they have some sort of name, but it teaches you to throw them, like you said. But then yeah, just you throwing them at Pokemon as you play through the levels and come across different Pokemon and finding different, reactions, or the Pokemon will do different things and stuff like that. Just like the apple. So it's kind of like it's kind of like a multi-level tool, and when you do throw that, yeah, you do get those higher scores on your photos if the Pokemon is illuminated and stuff like that. And yeah, that's kind of like where the story really goes in the game, is kind of focusing on this Lumina, you know,
The
whatever
whole
the
phenomenon of it,
phenomenon,
why
or
it
yeah, why Pokemon react this way, and why some Pokemon like elicit certain reactions to Lumina orbs, and just like the whole like ecosystem of it, I guess. And
Mhm.
that's cool because it's not just like, okay, we're taking pictures of Pokemon because we want to research. It's like there's a little bit more of depth there to kind of have like a bit more of a story without
Something really that keeps you moving through the game,
yeah,
because it's very easy. I mean, think about it, 30, my 24 to 30 hours or so that I put in the first weekend, I didn't unlock every area.
yeah.
So like the story itself, just to learn like kind of what's going on, the lore behind on this in this area that you're in, um, the story keeps you moving through it, because you can literally you can spend so many hours in just one spot going through and taking pictures. The story is going to kind of keep you
Hmm.
moving forward. And there's enough there that's dangling the carrot, like, oh, there's something interesting happening here,
Hmm.
you know? And then obviously getting in each of the area related to that Lumina thing are these special levels. These Lumina zones is
Hmm.
what they call them. And
Yes,
there's
yeah.
going to be a special Pokemon in these zones that is like a big reason that this situation is happening on any particular island. So like there's all these things, and those things, think of it like a Pokemon Snap battle,
Hmm.
or a boss fight, boss pictures, whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. And like it, getting drawn into that, and then it's like, oh, there's another place and there's more stuff to do and some more
Hmm.
Pokemon to see and everything. So it's just another one of those little bits to keep you moving through the game, um, along with all the different opportunities to catch these things out in the wild too.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just what I wanted to transition a little bit to, is the different positions and the how this game kind of changes and shakes things up. So each area that you go to actually isn't the same every single time. The
Mhm.
Pokemon will do different things based on your level of that level. So like each course, I guess is a better term to use, has a level that you level up. Obviously, the more pictures you take, the higher you can level up that place. So yeah, when you start off at level one, a lot of the Pokemon have their backs turned to you. They're not really worried, like paying any attention to you. They're kind of far in the distance. And then once you level up, it's like the Pokemon are kind of trusting you more, and they're coming a little closer to you, kind of putting on more of a show for you, which is obviously what you want if you're taking pictures of them. And so that's kind of cool. Like there's a leveling system, and you can actually choose if you just kind of wanted to go and take pictures, you can choose which level system you in. You don't have to play whatever current one. So if you needed to go back and get like a very generic picture of Pikachu's back or something like that, because that's one picture you need to fill in your Pokedex, you could do that. So that's kind of neat. And then the courses also have a day and night sequence. Not every single one, I don't think, but most of them have a day and night sequence. And obviously, nighttime bringing out different types of Pokemon, right?
Spoiler alert, I'm not going to tell you which one. You probably already know. Actually, all areas do have a night course,
Oh.
but some of them are unlockable later on in the game. It's not going to happen immediately, so you got to do some work to get them unlocked. So yeah, like the leveling system, you nailed it. Like 1, 2, 3, and you take your pictures to work up that scale, and your Pokemon are doing more stuff for you. The Pokemon that you're seeing are doing more stuff as you get there, as they get more comfortable for you. And then the nighttime completely flips everything into the evening, and new Pokemon show up, or more of a certain type that you were
Hmm.
seeing before, but they're more active
Active,
because they're
yeah.
not asleep during the day or something like that, right? Or ones that are awake during the day are now asleep at night, and you can elicit another one of the extra responses out of them to get a picture. So
Hmm.
it's there's this whole thing where these courses, they change over time, and it's never the same trip each time unless you're really on the grind.
Yeah.
That's the only time that you're really going to see it happening over and over again the same way, is if you really go on the grind and try and get those super extra the what do they call them, the photo requests
Hmm.
that you get, that are just these little extra things that you can complete for the characters within the game, and they give you prizes, or pat you on the back for them or something, or you just get a really cool shot, whatever it may be. So but yeah, really great evolution of the courses as you go through them, and how they change, and how the Pokemon react to you, and how they react with one another. um Really great system built into it. I think that was the thing that kept me going back to everything the most, was just trying to get everything leveled up to max
Hmm.
so I could see everything that potentially could happen in one
Yeah.
of the zones.
Yeah, I started doing that as well, as like even though there would be a new course that unlocked or whatever, I would want to stay in the course I was, because it's like, well, there's still more to see in this. There's still more secrets to uncover, and different Pokemon angles and stuff. So yeah, and I don't know if we clarified. So when you're taking the pictures, like in old Pokemon Snap, you just took pictures, and the better the shot, the better the points, right? If you got a Pikachu to kind of like use like a electrocute attack or something, that's going to score big points. With this game, it's still the same thing, but you're actually trying to get kind of 4 poses for per Pokemon. And it's kind of like a 1 star to a 4 star, I believe.
Mhm.
And within those stars, they also have like a rating system. I think it's like bronze, gold, diamond, or something like that.
Yeah, bronze, silver, gold, diamond.
Or
I
yeah,
may be in the
silver. Yeah,
top tier.
yeah.
And basically, I think it's all based on how many points the picture is.
Hmm.
So, like, if you take a picture that's worth 3,500 points, I think that's your silver star. If you
Yeah,
get one that's over 4,000 or 4,500, that's your diamond stars.
yeah.
And then the 1, 2, 3, 4 star rating isn't based off of how good the picture
Right.
is. It's based off of the action
Yeah,
that you're taking,
yeah.
or that you're getting the picture of. So like there's all these little nuanced mechanics that kind of just keep you trying to go for more.
Hmm.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
And then of course that is what you do to fill up your photo decks, is to try and get the pictures of each one of the different actions. And the requests actually play a little bit of role into
Hmm.
that, to usually getting some of your 3 or 4 stars, because characters will give you hints like, hey, look for this to be happening. This is probably your 3 or 4 star photo.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Those requests kind of basically are like, I remember in the old game, just trying to find secrets, throwing apples in like every nook and cranny you could to try and trigger some sort of new Pokemon that you hadn't discovered yet. Because that was, at a time where there was guides and stuff, and the internet, I think was it, yeah, no, the internet definitely existed.
Mhm.
Sorry,
In the
stating
early
my
days,
my ignorance on how young I am, but
the dial-ups happening,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So like you had to grind for that. So this is kind of cool because it allows players that maybe don't know Pokemon Snap and don't kind of know that mechanic of what it's like to kind of grind out and try to hunt for those new Pokemon to come out. It kind of teaches you that it will have a request and say, hey, there's this Pokemon. I wonder what happens if like if these Pokemon can fly or something like that. And so it will kind of like give you this hint that like, okay, we need to do something to get this Pokemon to fly, snap that shot, get proof that it can fly or whatever, and then we, you know, complete the request, and then like Steven said, you get a bonus or whatever it is. So it's kind of nice, and I kind of been playing it, you know, very. I haven't looked at the requests too much because I've been trying to. Uh, as you get requests issued to you, you don't have to like accept them or anything. They just kind of go into your log. And so a lot of requests I just completed naturally by just once you kind of know the loop of the game, you know what kind of things you need to do to get the Pokemon to do things. It starts to become a little more simple. And so, uh, yeah, the one thing I want to make sure I mention is the star reviews, and there's a little bit of, it's not like an issue, it's a little bit of an annoyance of like on the first, when you're in the first level of a game, the Pokemon, like I said, they're not really reacting to you, and so a lot of your shots are going to be that 1 star, but there is a chance that like you come across a higher picture, and so you get this really great shot. You almost have to like go back through the level and make sure that you're getting like a crappy shot to fill out like the 1 star and 2 star actions. Like usually 1 star is the only thing that's like the crappy shots. Everything else you kind of have to do to gain those shots. But you know, it makes you kind of strategize how, you know, you're not just going for the best every single time. You do have to kind of go for those distant shots as well, right?
Yeah, so the one thing that I ran into with it, and this honestly made some of the grind really, really difficult later on into the game, is as I started understanding the mechanics a lot more and what I needed to do to elicit responses, that I'd go right into a level on level, you know, right into a course, level 1, and start doing all the things that I possibly could to elicit responses from Pokemon, and not always getting like a really or getting a really great shot. So I blow through level 1 on it, and then I get to level 2, and it's much tougher for me to get more points to get up into level 3, because your point system to level up in each of the course is based off of the points that you get from your pictures. So if level 1, I'm coming out with a bunch of diamond photos because I already know how to, I'm throwing all this stuff around and making things happen that just based off of insight from previous game. My later levels are me trying to tweak my pictures that I've already gotten to be even better than
Hmm.
what they are. Most pulling for perfection is a lot of what would end up happening. Instead of just kind of getting this, okay, you know, get whatever during level 1, and then you go in during level 2 and you get a little bit better on that. Then your level 3 is like, all right, now we're going to start blowing the door
Hmm.
off these diamond pictures and making things happen. But like how it was in the first course. And even the second one, the second course, it was kind of the same way. But as I got past that, like the one that really where my grind picked up was the water zone, the island chain,
Yeah.
or the reef rather, the reef
Yes.
out there. It turned into such a grind for me because I went in and I was so hyped up whenever I got to that zone that I'm just like, all right, tossing apples and playing the song. It's like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to get all these great pictures right off the bat. And then I'm sitting there, it's like level 2 halfway, and half my photo decks is filled up already. And it's already got most of these shots. And I can't find any more points. Basically, it was in a
Yeah.
points hole. Just took so long to get so many to get things rounded
That
out for it.
level, honestly, the exact same thing happened to me. I think that's like a natural point in the game that kind of like gets hung up there a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm glad you said something because I thought it was just because
No.
I rushed the whole thing, but it does. That level feels like that there's this uptick in the
Mm,
difficulty to get the points that you need to level up the zones, because ones after that are very similar to it, but that one in particular is just kind of like this. It's just it's a tough place to
yeah.
get what
Yeah.
you need.
Yeah, it was weird. I'm yeah, it's reassuring me too, because it was one of those
Yeah.
things where it was like, man, I'm tired of this area. I want to move on. So it's good to know that I guess that is kind of something that other people are experiencing too.
That was
Um,
the first point in the game that I was like, all right, I haven't finished this
right.
area yet. I am gonna move on
Yes,
though. I just
same
need to
here.
get into
Yeah.
a different place
Hmm.
and see what else there is. And but yeah, yeah, the reef. Oh,
Yeah, speaking a little bit about that, the reef and just you know, all the different environments you get to explore in this game are pretty neat. I think the first
mhm.
game had a diverse group of environments, but you were also talking like one generation of Pokemon at the time. So it's like now it's opened up. We have so many generations of Pokemon. there's so many, there's like a roster to choose from in, if we do a rainforest area, if we do a, you know, lava area or a cave area or underwater, like the the roster of Pokemon are just like insane right now. So what's cool is going into it, you know, having a pretty good knowledge of Pokemon, not to the level um that probably you have of Pokemon, but you know, I have a pretty good understanding of most Pokemon, but it was great to see just a wide diversity across the generations, right? It wasn't favoring
Mhm.
to the the last generation too much, and it wasn't sticking to just all the fan favorites. Like there really was Pokemon. It's like, oh man, I don't think I've seen this Pokemon before. That's one that's like brand new to me. So that was cool to have that experience again of like kind of like discovering a new type of Pokemon that I haven't seen before. So
Yeah. Now, Garrett and Nishon are Pokemon masters. Like
sure.
hands down,
Yes.
they would know
Yeah.
more. I took a huge break between Gold and Silver until Sword and Shield came out. I hadn't touched Pokemon since then. So going in this and being able to see that wide array again. Now some of them I recognized from Sword and Shield, and of
Hmm.
course there's ones from the first and second gen that are recognizable as well. Um, but yeah, just the wide array of what they had available to you because of having so many areas. I think the first Pokemon Snap had what, 5 areas? I think there's like 5 areas to it.
Yeah, there's like a beach, a cave. Yeah, that sounds about right. There wasn't too many.
Yeah, it's beach, cave, forest, and the other two definitely didn't have a desert. I know that.
Did
Is there
have
a
a
fire zone for it? I
Yes,
can't even
there
remember.
was, because there was a
Okay.
Charizard, and then there was like a river one. Uh, yeah, there's a river one, not like a forest one, but the river one with the Gyarados in it.
Yeah.
Anyways, a five is right, I think.
So in this, it's going to be 11 zones.
Yeah.
Now, some of them are packed onto the same island set, but we're in essence doubling the how many zones you're going to. And then on top of that, using a much wider array. I still think the Photodex is probably around an original, like a 150,
Yeah.
151. Kind of where I'm teetering right now that I'm into endgame. I don't know if there's much else that I can see. Um, there's one area in the reef that I want to get back and explore in the undersea portion, just in case. I
Right.
think there's something that I'm missing there. And I want to get back in there and make sure that I'm definitely not. But um, so like taking all the different zones and giving you it's the park, which is basically just a walk in the park. And then you have the jungle, and then the water areas. That'll be like your beach, your reef, and your undersea. The undersea is really interesting. I love that place. Um, and then there's a is it a forest? Did you get to the forest yet?
Yeah, I think
On the
I've
middle,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
on the
It's yeah,
second
it's like
island in the
and it's like
forest.
kind of foggy or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then you have desert and volcano, which the volcano level is really interesting too.
Hmm.
And then you have snow fields and a cave. And then from there, it's to the final area. And I want to leave the final area alone. I won't describe too much that
Hmm.
goes on in there just in case.
I just
But
got to
it's
that.
you just got to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Really interesting place too. So for listeners, for viewers, I'm not gonna get too far into that because it is towards into your end game. Very cool place, very interesting things happen down there. I'm excited for you to get in there. It's a cool zone with a lot of really awesome Pokemon too, and the way that they have it set up and what's going on in there, I'm really excited for you to
Yeah,
check out.
I
But
did do one run through of it, so I kind of have an idea, but it's cool because
Mhm.
yeah, that last area is kind of hinted in the game as part of like research because uh in addition to Pokemon, you do have some challenges of like taking scanning areas and like taking note of things of in points of interest, right? And so yeah, there's some things within courses that kind of hint to this final area a little bit, right? So
Yep.
yeah, really
Yeah.
cool. And honestly, like I like that there was that because that was the cool thing about the first game, you know, getting into that final area with Mew and just like being up in the clouds and taking pictures of Mew. I really hope that there's even more secrets that have yet to be discovered. Although I haven't checked too much on the internet. I'm sure once I get further in the game, I'd love to kind of go scour the internet and look for Easter eggs, hints to secrets and stuff. Because yeah, who knows? Maybe Nintendo threw in something there where they uh, or Pokemon Company or Game Freak or whoever developed it threw in like a secret where, you know, a certain reaction of events trigger something that's very like a legendary Pokemon, or I don't know. I do you think
Yeah,
they'll
I there has to be
yeah.
there, and I mentioned the Undersea. I think it's there. I don't
Hmm.
know though because like there's a whole chain of interaction that you have to do to make a. Because I noticed I was going down in the Undersea, and I noticed a cave off to the right hand side that there's no scan to take you into it or anything like that. So I started messing around with stuff, and a whole chain of events started taking place. And finally, I got into the cave, and there's a couple blooms that you can hit with Illumina orbs, but nothing has occurred so far for me. So I don't know.
Interesting.
I don't. I don't know if I'm not hitting the right, amount of them, or if
Hmm.
there's one hidden that I haven't touched yet, whatever it may be. But I want to mess around in that zone more to see if there is something, because I hit these blooms, and usually if you hit a bloom in a level, something's just happening,
Right.
right? Something always
Yeah.
happens. This is the only place in this entire game that I've gone down and I've done the blooms and
Hmm.
everything, and there has been nothing. So
Interesting.
I wanted to go and beat the game, which I did. So it's something that I'm going to be going back to visit, um, hopefully this weekend, and see
Yeah.
what's going on with this place. There's
Yeah.
got to be something, Luke. There has to be.
Yeah. There
I haven't checked the internet. I don't want to. I
Yeah,
want to
that's
try
the
and
thing,
find.
right? Is it's kind of fun to like, because yeah, it is. I know. I think I might know where you're actually talking about. Maybe not, but like even in general, some of the courses kind of have the way they're shaped. It's like I don't know. Like this is like very prominent in this course, and nothing's gone on here yet. Like what
Mhm.
there has to be something here. So yeah, I don't
Yep.
know. Well, you have to let me know if you do do find something.
I will. I definitely will. I'll be like, "Yep, it's exactly where I thought it
Yeah.
was." Go and get it. But it was one of the longer chains that you have to do in the game to make things happen and see certain interactions take place between Pokemon and stuff. And um, speaking of which, Drifloon, like I will never look at that Pokemon the same again. That's like the little balloon, or
Yeah.
no, not Drifloon. It's not Drifloon. Oh gosh, I'm gonna forget what the name of it is. But it's in the Undersea. It's that little like jellyfish looking one. Never will look at it the same again. It's such a
Okay, yeah, I think I
cool.
know. Yeah, I don't know the name either. I'd have to
Frillish.
pull it up.
Frillish. That's
Okay,
the one.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Little pink princess looking
Yeah.
one. You think, oh, it's so precious. And then you see what it does to some of the Pokemon in there. It's like, no,
Yeah, not
thank
so
you.
much.
You're why I don't go in water, miss.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, if we want to go more from, I guess, just like objective comments to more subjective, I wanted to ask you, what are your personal favorite areas, maybe favorite moments without anything spoilery, if there's anything you wanted to specifically highlight an experience that was just like, whoa, I can't believe that, this is incredible, or something that just took you off guard.
There were two moments that I jumped out of my seat and I was like, Alicia, look, it's this. And the first one happened in the volcano. There's another pretty decent sized interaction that you do. Basically, you throw aluminum orbs at two little Charmanders who are down inside of a crater. And then there is a Graveler hanging up on a wall above them on this crater, and you knock him down after you make them shine. The Graveler drops down and erupts the crater, and you're kind of sitting there. Your cart actually stops for this, and right out from the middle of this crater, Charizard leaps up, and Charizard pokes up out of the scene,
Damn.
and I was like, "Whoa!" I was so happy whenever it happened. It was like one of the best moments of the game, and I was like rapid fire pushing the button.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
snap, snap, snap. I took like
Take all the
15
memory up,
pictures.
yeah.
Yeah, 15 pictures of the whole interaction that happened, and I'm gonna pull this thing up because one of the pictures that I got is was part of this whole thing of Charizard showing up. I don't know if you got a chance to see it or not. I hope
I
I'm
haven't yet, but I knew I had already seen something, a picture of Charizard in that moment on Twitter, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
and then let me get this thing. I got so many good pictures of that too. And because of my experience with Final Fantasy and taking pictures of
Right.
my character, messing with different settings
Yeah.
to make pictures, like I was just making some wacky stuff. And I've got a couple of good ones to show. Let me see if I can get this thing.
Well, while you're pulling those up, yeah, I'll mention that there is like an editing kind of mode to these photos. You can add stickers, you can add filters, and as you level up some of the things, you unlock more filters. So I haven't played around. I think you probably played around more than I have with some of that stuff because I've seen some of the things you posted on the Discord server. But yeah, it's kind of cool because think about it, right? When Pokemon Snap came out, that was in a time when there a photo mode didn't really exist in games, right? It was photo mode the game, but now photo mode is kind of a feature that's included in a lot of games, right? Being able to take pictures of your gameplay moments and stuff. So it's like they've naturally just been given this idea of like, okay, well, we live in a world where we can take photos, we can add filters, we can customize the photos how we want. So it just works in perfectly for like kind of the DNA of this game. So yeah, I wanted, oh, let's see this.
Let's see if I can get it
Get
so
the
it's
right.
not.
Oh my gosh, that's a cool shot with the lava coming up
So
like that.
the
There's a
glare
bit
is
of a
really
glare.
bad. Let me do this a second. Hold on.
There you go. It's a little better. Look at that. That's dope. That actually is like, look at it. You have that centered perfectly.
Yeah.
Damn.
This one, this is just as he's coming up out of it. Now the bottom fire that I have there, that's actually just like some of the stickers that you can get that get unlocked
Oh,
whenever
that
you do
looks
things,
so cool. Oh my
right? So
gosh.
basically just has this eruption effect to him as he's coming up out of this thing. Really fantastic moment. So that was number one.
Yeah.
Now number two, I don't have anything like, you know, super fantastic picture wise whenever it comes to my next surprise moment that I was just like, oh yes, I'm so glad that this just happened. And I have a picture of it, is in the cave on the snow island. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for it.
While you look for that, I'll mention this isn't anything epic, but my favorite Pokemon, like it's a tie always between Gengar and Gyarados. They're very different, but I really like those. And there's a level where Gengar kind of like stalks you for a little bit, and you can kind
Right.
of like throw apples in there to kind of like you see these like purple. Oh, I got a bad glare too, but you
Yeah,
see,
that's exactly
yeah, look
that's exactly what I got too. That's the same picture.
yeah,
Oh man, I was freaking out whenever it happened. I saw him walking in the cave first. I'm like, "Whoa, it's Gengar!" I'm like, "Snap,
yeah,
snap!"
yeah.
Taking all the pictures
Oh
you
my
can. Like
gosh.
it has these moments, and yeah, same picture. Like coming out of that portal, just
Yeah,
poking his
his
face
head
out,
like a little creeper. Yeah.
and then he just backs up again.
Oh
And
gosh.
yeah, great moment. Another great moment.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's the thing. Like you know, yeah, you always have a handful of favorites whenever it comes to Pokemon, right? There's always a handful of favorites, and these things show up. Because there was other ones too. I was like, sweet, this is awesome, and you just snap like 10 pictures of the same thing, even though you know like you're gonna go back through the course and get another one. I was still getting excited, just you know, snapping 10, 15 photos of something that just got me excited to see
Hmm.
it. It was awesome, and there's a lot of those moments, and those were the two though, because they're two of my all-time favorite Pokemon.
Yeah.
Whenever they showed up, and it's just like, here we go.
Yeah.
This is it. This is what we're
So
playing the
good.
game for.
Love it. Yeah, I'll have to get to that Charizard moment myself because and I need to play those filter like you said that having that fire sticker. That's something I touched on like early in the game when it was kind of like first introduced, and then I haven't gone back and I've unlocked a lot of cool stuff. So that's the thing is like as you play the game, you unlock more stuff that you can kind of customize your things with. So it's almost like I want to go through, save all these photos and kind of keep them in mind and then go back and edit them when I have more, tools at my disposal.
Yeah, I have a big album full of stuff to
Yeah.
go back and do the exact same
Yeah.
thing. But there's just like this is another one. And the other thing too is there's a big online feature to this game as well. So one of the things, so after you get one of these sweet pictures and you're so hyped up and you got it and you go in and you do some editing it to it, you can post it up to your page for people to go and look at and basically throw likes up on it. And you get to choose 6 of your photos, plus the professor choose 2 for you that he really likes and put them up on your page so that your friends and strangers can go and see these things, and you can all see kind of the work that you're putting in. one of my favorite six that I have right now, because in the and I tell you, another one is another favorite moment is it's an interaction in the reef with Machamp. I don't want to get into too much details with it, but it's Machamp and another Pokemon, and it's a really cool moment. But on the beach level, you can get Machamp doing some pretty awesome poses for you.
Love it.
And I have probably 3 or 4 pictures similar to this where he's just flexing, looking
Oh, that is
stocky
so good.
and having a good time, out in the sun, beach bodding around, just looking great. Um, Another simple one that I have up there. This is so we know Slacking, right? Slacking, the big sloth, big fat sloth Pokemon. Kind of basically he's our Snorlax for this.
Hmm.
He's our Snorlax for this. But I've got a picture of him where the only reason he woke up was to pick up the apple that I kept throwing at him. Kept throwing apples at him. And I call this picture snacking.
That is a great shot. Oh my gosh. Man,
And
that is
then
awesome.
now these ones are a little bit more artistic.
I mean,
I mentioned
even the
we mentioned the
photos you've showed so far, I'm very impressed with. So,
so we mentioned the Lumina areas, right? And these are kind of your boss battles. What did you think of these things, Luke? What did you think of
they
these Lumina
were,
areas, these bosses, I guess you could say?
yeah, they were pretty cool. Like they're at first when the first one's introduced, it was basically my first reaction to it was it's like, okay, it's like welcome to Jurassic Park, and it's like this very kind of like cool cinematic moment. I was like, oh, that's very cool. And when you go into the other Lumina spots and some of the other regions, like there's like some really cool intense moments. Like the volcano one was one that you especially have to work hard for. Like it kind of makes you uh have to do a lot more, be a little bit more accurate with kind of throwing your apples and throwing your lumina orbs to elicit certain things. It's a bit more of a challenge. So yeah, like I just liked how each one was a little bit more diverse. It wasn't like the same challenge every single time just with a different skin over top. It kind of fit the environments. They like were like, okay, and it was cool because like the lumina pokemon also weren't your legendaries or like any like the big fan favorites that everyone knows. Like there were some that like I'm familiar with, but it's like, oh, that's cool that they chose those Pokemon to kind of be like the highlight piece of this region. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, especially the water one. So the water one was one that I was really surprised. I was like, I couldn't believe that they were going in that direction with
Yeah,
this being kind of the other ones that I had interacted with so far. It was kind of like, okay, this sort of makes sense. And then you get to the water one, and it's like, wow, they're really about to do this, and they did it. And I was able to get this beauty of a shot. Luke, are
oh
you ready
snap,
for
here we
this?
go.
Are you ready, Twitch chat? Look at this thing.
Oh damn, that is dope.
This one, it was diving down. I had it illuminated, and I snapped this picture, darkened the background, blurred out the background a little bit, and brought the focus to it directly, and you just get this really nice looking, artsy, psychedelic big
Yeah,
fish
I really dig
swimming.
that.
That one's a really good one. Um, and like I said, it's got these points where it's like, yeah, this isn't my highest score photo by any means whenever it comes
Yeah,
to this. Um, but it presented a great artistic moment, and watching a behavior that I've never seen any of these things do before. It was
exactly
just,
right. Well,
and
now
then you mentioned, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just to go off that point, and that's like what is so great about Pokemon Snap, right? Like Meg, when I got Pokemon Snap, she roasted me. She's like, she's like, what? You spend how much money on a game where you take pictures of? I'm like, no, but listen, no, but listen. And she's like, no,
Just
no, no, no. And I'm like, okay, but the thing is that I was trying to say is like this game, it's more than just that, right? Like that artistic side to it. It's not just about like going for the high scores. You can do that, and that certainly is a big
Mhm.
component to the game. But you can have there's such a huge creative side to it that will give this game legs for, you know, a lot longer. You know what I mean? Like the hype has died down a little now that we're a couple weeks off, and Village came, and now it's Mass Effect. But people will continue to post pictures and stuff like that. If they post updates of like around seasonal things, like, hey, here's a Halloween sticker pack or Christmas, like people making Christmas greeting cards to put on Twitter, and like it's perfect. Like it's so perfect for them in terms of marketing.
So I know, like, and the one thing, and I mentioned this, but way back with Sword and Shield, I'm like, I asked the question, is there room in that Pokemon game to expand on it? And I feel the same thing with this one, is that there's ability to be able to expand upon it. I think we're going to get more as DLC content in the future. I really do. I'm believing in it in
I
my
hope so
heart.
too.
And that replayability, like, this is my new feed up game. This is me just like, if I'm wanting to sit down and relax, I wrap up stream with Mass Effect or with Final Fantasy, and I just want to sit down and chill. I'm sitting down to chill and I'm taking pictures of Pokemon.
Definitely.
Because it's just a really calming, fun experience, and you have that artistic side. I want to go back to the Volcano Illumina Pokemon.
Yes, let's do it.
So this one, again, like you said, like, it was kind of surprising to see that this was the route, but as soon as you get into this thing, like, now it's perfect, right? So this picture that I took of it, and again, this is simple. Just I darkened the background, blurred it out, and then put the focus on the front of the picture where the Pokemon's at, and I ended up getting this thing.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. The positioning is like so awesome on these photos.
Right, so it's not even like centered. Again, it's not my highest.
Yeah, but I like how it kind of,
post.
it's like a trail to the right, right? With
Right.
the,
So it just gives that real nice psychedelic effect. Just great stuff. And of course, the other Illumina Pokemon, I'm guessing that you haven't gotten to the last one yet.
Not the last one, no. I'm still working through leveling up that that last course.
Get that last one.
Yeah.
Now, before because we're getting close to the end here, right? Before we do that, I need to give Twitch chat what they're demanding right now.
Yes, this is actually, that's why I put it as one of our last notes on our show doc. I put it in all caps to make sure Steven, even though I knew Steven wouldn't forget. So,
oh no,
Gravier, you in the chat, don't even worry about it. We had it on lock, so that's coming. Don't even worry about it.
You never ever forget our Lord Bidoof. Bidoof must be protected, right? So Bidoof is funny. First area Pokemon. First Pokemon that you really like get any sort of good interactions out of in the entire game, to be perfectly honest. But I spent more time in the first area within that first day of playing getting pictures of this Bidoof because it is ridiculously precious. Like unstoppably precious.
Yeah.
And it gets itself into situations that it's just like, I can't believe this thing is doing another adorable thing, and I couldn't stop with it. Nishan was the same way. Me and Nishan were just like, all hail Bidoof, you can. Like, highlight of the game. And I was thinking, going throughout the entire game, I'd go into another area and Alicia would ask me, did you find anything like Bidoof yet? Like, that was our standard, our gold standard for a cute Pokemon throughout the rest of the game was, is it like Bidoof? And honestly, I have not found anything to compare to this Pokemon, and it's the way that it just works itself around the around in the zones. I'm obsessed with them, and I've got probably more pictures of Bidoof than I have of almost any other Pokemon.
Oh
but
my god!
Just the snoozing Bidoof.
I love it.
This one, it's actually sleeping next to a Boufflant during that scene. And then munching on an apple.
Oh my gosh,
that's so good. Snack. Now these two, let me get this thing up, and you got to start showing me your pictures, Luke.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. The thing is I'm just like, I feel like I can't even show them off because I'm so jealous of your skill here. Oh, look at that one too. That one's good.
The duo, right? The Bidoof duo. I think everybody's taken this picture because they're all they just stand there and stare at you as you pass by. So everybody's gotten this picture.
Or this one, because it's pretty set up to get them.
Yeah, the
swimming
one
there.
Swimming with the sticks. Oh, freaking fast. What else do I got? Now this one, I was on the dam because one of the extra paths for the first area is to go across the dam. And I turn around, and right behind me, following me nice and close, was this little fella.
Yeah.
Just following me, looking up, waiting for a snack or something like that. Just look at him.
Yeah, this isn't, oh, maybe I shouldn't spoil, but there's like a dam in the first level, and I guess I won't spoil it specifically for that level, but some of the levels, like, I don't know if we mentioned, they do have like change ups where like the course will shift over to the left instead of going right this time, and then it'll connect up later on the path. So, oh, look at that. The cupcakes. Audio listeners, it's a picture of him with a little thought bubble of cupcakes on his mind. Love it.
But yeah, like you're saying, the separate paths you can split off into different. There's just so much. There's so much, Luke.
Yeah.
The game doesn't end, in my opinion.
It's yeah, like that's the thing. So that's where we should probably work towards wrapping it up here is it worth it? So I think it's clear both of us would say absolutely it is worth it. You know, when it comes to these things, is a game worth it? It always comes back to, it's like, well, you have to kind of ask yourself, what are you looking for in this game? And if you play Pokemon Snap on Nintendo 64 and you really liked it, you're going to absolutely love this game because it is that and like much more. If you're looking for something that is like you're on the edge of your seat and just like looking for a really captivating, it's not necessarily that. It is what you said, Steven. It's something to kick your feet up, just have a very casual, like almost therapeutic experience of just relaxing, taking pictures of Pokemon. And that in its own, I think is worthy to pay for an experience like that, because it's fun to kind of have a game that is that, right? When we have our FF14 or Resident Village, these other games that are occupying our mind, it's like it's okay to have that game to sit back. And so I think this is like the perfect game to release, especially when we're kind of looking for those cozy games in 2021. It's great that they picked, this is the time to bring back this franchise.
Absolutely. And whenever people ask that question, is it worth the money? Well, we paid what, $50 for Snap back on the 64.
Yeah.
And what that game was. And now it's what, $10 more,
yeah.
and you're getting over double the game, at least double the game.
Yeah.
To be able to play through that same sort of experience, just expanded upon. Absolutely, it's worth the $60. And I looked at my playtime just now. I'm at, now, mind you, it's been on for about 45 minutes. So we're more looking at actually like 60 hours worth of playtime versus the 61 that's showing on the clock right now. To me, that's, I basically paid $1 an hour for this thing, and I'm okay with that. And I mean, you heard it,
$2 an hour,
right?
Right? Yeah.
You heard it. Like I got great moments out of this thing that is going to make it memorable for me, and it's something that I'm going to keep picking up, and makes me hope that there is going to be stuff that they're going to add to it in the future, like they did with Sword and Shield. I'd love to see new areas, more Pokemon show up, more opportunities. It's just see these things interact with them, you know, interact with the wild and with other Pokemon. Like it's it was an experience. It was a great experience. And if you're a Pokemon fan and you know you're kind of a completionist mentality too, that is really going to help out in making this really worth it too. It is something to look at, and it's something to pick up for you, because you're going to enjoy it. You're going to just have a nice, relaxing, great time finding these different moments with your favorite Pokemon running around doing stuff. So
definitely. And if you're a stoner, I'm surprised you aren't playing this game already, because I'll just put those two together and let you do the math on it. All right. Well, yeah. So, you know, yesterday we haven't done reviews in a while, but we have this like conclusion rating out of 10 kind of thing. James was giving us crap because he doesn't like doing a number, and I respect that because not everyone likes to put a number on it. Steven, do you want to put a number, or do you want to talk about like, is this game of the year conversation for you, do you think? Or like, what's your overall rating of this game?
So objectively, man, I think the game is honestly perfect. I think it's perfect. And it has this great mix of things to keep you busy, great opportunities to get great moments with the characters that are involved, whether the Pokemon or not, or and the artistic side to it to keep you moving in that direction. And I think I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10, because the plot is a little like, you know, okay, you're keeping me moving, and I'm interested a little bit on what's going on with this situation. But honestly, what we were there for was taking the pictures, and that's the perfect part.
Yeah.
So I'm going to drop it down 1 point to a 9 out of 10, just because the plot's just like,
yeah,
okay, it, we know what we're here
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
We're here for Bidoof, you know. And yeah, absolutely game of the year conversation for me. This is, and I was not expecting that to happen at
Yeah,
all
right.
whenever I picked this up. It was just sort of like, okay, I'm going to get this. I'm going to relax. It's going to be my feet up game. And now, with as much time as what I put into it, and how much of a great time that I've had with it, it is definitely in that conversation of a game of the year for me. And it is definitely family game of the year thing. Even though I chased everybody away from it while I was playing it, it was still nice because everybody would come together and say, and my son would be like, "Oh, that's such and such a Pokemon. That's really cool." Or Alicia, when asking me, it was like, "Did we find anything like Bidoof yet?" Or, or my daughter coming in, and again, it just kind of got everybody interested in it because it's all these things that we know and we love from previous games. It did pull us together and to kind of enjoy and laugh at when Dad was doing his important research on the Switch, making Bidoof think of cupcakes.
Yeah.
It was just one of those really great things that occurred. So yeah, definitely game of the year conversation for me. There's gonna be some stuff coming out, and I'm sure it's gonna get lost in the conversation. But as of right now, between Outriders that I've played and um, um, waiting on Mass Effect Legendary Edition, but again, we're looking at a remaster on that, so that's not really in the conversation too much, I think. But between those two, I'm gonna give it to Pokemon Snap all day between Outriders and Pokemon Snap, definitely.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'll say that on the April 30th release day of Pokemon Snap and Returnal, Pokemon Snap definitely wins my vote too. I'm definitely a lot more high on Pokemon Snap than Returnal. Just because they're very different, but I needed a Pokemon Snap for like the month I've been having. It's just like, this is great. This is like very relaxing, and so yeah, I would put it as a 9 out of 10 as well. I really like it. I think you're right. They had this opportunity to like just maybe even if they just like made that plot, they made that story a little more robust or just added a couple extra layers to it, I think it would have put it over. But I will say playing the game after primarily playing PS5 and PC, haven't played too much of my Switch, going back to that game, and it's like it's a little jarring on the eyes when I threw it on the big screen, like some of the like CGI cut scenes and like the low frame rates. It's like, okay, and that's not the game's fault. I think that's like the game doing the best it can on a console that is, with every passing year getting further and further behind from where the current tech is at, right? But that's another conversation in itself. So I really liked it. Can't wait to play more. Can't wait to roll credits on it, and then can't wait to get into the end game and just grind for those great shots and going into editing. And I can guarantee that now that we've had like some time for the game to breathe, I'll probably save some of my more spoilery shots, but I'm going to start posting more on Twitter now to share some of those things. So yeah. All right. Well, yeah, that's gonna wrap it for our review for new Pokemon Snap. So thank you so much to everyone for checking out this special episode of The Games Are Fun. It would mean a lot to us if you could retweet or share this episode with, if you have a friend who's into Pokemon or Pokemon Snap, share the episode with them. We're always welcoming new listeners. So make sure to follow the show on Twitter at GamesAreFunPod, Instagram at GamesAreFunPod, and then join our Discord server at invite.gg/GamesAreFun. You can join in on the conversation over there. We're talking daily about video games, movies, TV shows, food, pretty much everything. So make sure you're joining that. Steven, thank you so much for joining me on this review episode. I think this was our first episode where it's just you and I, so this was a lot of fun to do, man.
Duo.
Yeah,
this was a good one.
It was a good one.
We've got great taste. That's why.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Adam. We asked Adam if he wanted to join, but Adam I think he had a couple hours, so he's like, nah, I haven't played it enough, so
I don't have enough time. He's too busy being God mode at Returnal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was in his high horse yesterday there.
He was. As soon as you guys talking stats, you guys were talking stats, I was like, here we go.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yeah.
We died 13 times in the whole game, guys.
Oh gosh. Yeah. And like I said, I brag that like it doesn't really show that I have the skill because I'm still on second level, but I'm like, listen, Adam, I'm only shy of a couple hundred kills from you. Like clearly I've been putting in the time and working my ass off, man. But So don't forget those below you out there grinding away.
Right.
All right. Twitch chat, if you want to stick around, we'll talk to you for a bit. But audio listeners, YouTube listeners, thank you. Make sure you subscribe to the show, share this episode with a friend, and we'll talk to you all next week on a new episode of Games Are Fun. So we'll see you later.